Welcome to the Lady Up America podcast. I'm Diane Canada. I am so glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. Ladies, we see it. We see the headlines. We see everything that's going on around the world. It's getting crazy out there. It's been crazy for a while. We know we're in the last days. Not only are we in them, we're in the last hours of the last days. God gave us every sign to look for. We know it. We sense it. We sense this urgency, but what can we do? Well, I've got answers for you. What if your kitchen table could become the most dangerous place for the enemy? You don't need a platform. You just need a kettle. I'm going to show you all about what I mean later on in today's podcast. And I have a very big announcement to make that's going to help you even more to get that concept. So before we dive into that, we're going to sit down. We're going to look at the news headlines today with our good friend, Steve Gill. He's a political expert. He's going to help us understand it from that perspective. Then we're going to break it down biblically, which will be the perfect segue then into the news that I have for you. Before we dive in, could you do me a big favor? Could you like or subscribe? It just helps more people learn about the podcast. And right now in these last days, we want as many people hearing this message as possible, especially Christian suburban moms who are on fire for the Lord. We definitely want to make sure they hear it. If you want to share it, that'd be great too. All right, let's get to these headlines with our good friend Steve Gill. I will be right back with him.
Taking back this house, taking back this town. Mama, don't back down. Just lady up, lady up, lady up. Sidewalks are for bicycles, not for angry moms. Our children will know peace again, 'cause we're on the job. Yeah, lady. We're fired up and we're ready, so give us a little room. Get up. Our faith don't move that mountain now, just watch it move. Taking back this house, taking back this town. Mama, don't back down. No. Just a lady up, lady up, lady up.
All right, ladies, welcome back. We are going to sit down with our good friend Steve Gill. He is the founding publisher and editor at Tristar Daily, tristardaily.com. He has a very storied career in politics, served in the White House. He has been on syndicated radio for many years, and he also does international TV commentary. And the reason why that's important is because he hears what's going on from the source directly from all these other countries, how they're perceiving this war in Iran, how they perceive America. So he's an invaluable asset here to Lady Up America, and we really appreciate him. Please say hello to Steve Gill. Hi, Steve.
Hi, thank you for having me. And it is going to be an interesting week. You were mentioning the international. The blockade has basically brought Iran economically to their knees. And President Trump has been very wise to not continue the bombing and destroying the oil production facilities, the oil storage facilities, the refining facilities in Iran, because ultimately the Iranian people will need to rebuild their country and have a future. He can bring them down economically by stopping their sale of oil, but then that can be rebuilt very quickly. So by not destroying the facilities and simply kind of calling a timeout to their economic capabilities, it really does leave a great opportunity down the line. So I think a lot of people that say, oh, what's Trump's plan? He doesn't have a plan. He's been very thoughtful and very focused in how to best maneuver this. I mean, we could have just bombed their facilities and literally destroyed their economic civilization for decades to come.
Yeah.
But he has been wise enough not to pursue that course. And I think we're going to see that play out. We're already seeing the oil prices drop. We're going to see the gas prices come down, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I do think we're seeing a complete reset in the Middle East, where the United Arab Emirates, the Saudis and others are more aligned with the U.S. than ever before. This week, Lebanon and Israel are meeting to jointly figure out how to deal with Hezbollah, the terrorist organization that has been, oppressing their country. These are dramatic and amazing events that are taking place. And I think that President Trump is not getting nearly enough credit from the doomsayers and the doubters that, oh, he doesn't have a clue, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's turning out as he expected. It's been about 5 or 6 weeks. I've heard experts saying, oh, we've been caught in this quagmire of a war. It's like 5 or 6 weeks is not a quagmire, folks. But again, you look at the way the left and the media has portrayed this. Again, things are going to turn around pretty quickly, I think, once this Iranian conflict is resolved. And real quickly, I know we're more in the details than most people need. The Iranians keep saying, oh, on one hand, we're not trying to develop nuclear weapons with our uranium enrichment. On the other hand, they're admitting, yeah, we're doing that and we're not going to give that up. You don't need 60% enriched uranium for power. You need 3 to 5%. They have 60%, and you can go from 60 to 80 to 90, which is weaponized very quickly. And 60% is enough to do dirty bombs. Imagine a dirty nuke, not even a massive mushroom cloud, but a dirty nuke going off in New York City. The economic impact that would have, not only in the US, but globally. So you have to take that power and that opportunity away from them. And the fact that they are still fighting so hard in their negotiations to refuse to give up their uranium enrichment program tells you they want to weaponize it. Second, they are refusing to give up their ballistic missile program. The reason they want those ballistic missiles is so that they can reach, London, Berlin, other capitals in Europe, and perhaps even to us. And again, you look at what they're refusing to negotiate on, it tells you their intentions, it tells you their purposes. They've denied they've been funding their proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and yet the big sticking point in the negotiations have been, oh, well, unless we have Israel stop attacking Hezbollah, we can't agree to anything. Why are you putting Hezbollah on the table if they're not your proxy and if you're not playing on their behalf? So everything the Iranians have said have been lies. They cannot be trusted, and we should be very thankful that President Trump, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and our side in this conflict have remained resolute to not allowing the past lies to take place. Again, we're not sending them $1.5 billion in pallets of cash like we had under President Barack Obama. And I think, again, the Iranians are just now finally coming to grips with this is a different president.
Yeah. If he were a madman like the left paints him out to be, Trump, talking about Trump, he would have just obliterated all these things. He would have just, set off bombs everywhere in that country, not caring about the civilians and all of that. He is thinking long term. He is trying to take care of things and move responsibly. Do you feel like the talks that J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and Witkoff had, or not Rubio, but I think it was Jared Kushner that went. Do you think the talks that they had with Iran the other day were just sort of like the last resort? Like that was because I know J.D. Vance he's not pro-war by any stretch. I don't think any of them are. But do you think that was just the way for Trump to put him in there and say, go see for yourself. They're not going to negotiate. And then for everybody to be on board in the administration? Was that kind of the plan there?
And 21 hours of intense negotiations revealed what I think I said here a couple of weeks ago and last week. The problem is, who do you negotiate with in Iran? 400, 500 of their top people have been killed in this process. Who do you talk to? And the people that they sent to talk clearly did not have the authority to strike a deal. The military are continuing to want to continue the conflict. They are the radical. They are the ones that are the Ayatollah cultists. They are not wanting a deal. And the friction within Iran between the different factions has been a major problem of who do you talk to? And if you reach a deal with their president, with their head of their legislature, can they impose it against the will of the military that doesn't want to stop anything? So again, the challenge has been, who do you talk to first? And if you talk to somebody and reach a deal, can they actually put it into effect and make sure that it sticks? I think that has been the challenge, and it remains the challenge as we try to hopefully see this thing come to an end. But I do think that this was a last-ditch effort before we obliterate your economic resources in a way that will take decades to rebuild. We're going to give one last gasp chance. And J.D. Vance got to look them in the eye, see for himself, and I think some of the statements he's made since, these are truly evil people you cannot trust.
You cannot.
And I think he had to see it for himself to know that all of the, give peace a chance crowd, with this particular group, you cannot pursue that course. And yet again, when you look at the alliance of Middle Eastern countries, Oman, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, that have aligned to go against Iran in this case. They don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon. Nobody rational wants Iran to get a nuclear weapon. And I think so you see that they sent J.D. Vance, who was perceived as less willing to go along with this conflict, to be there and say, look, I did the best. And if I couldn't strike a deal, nobody can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that was kind of the point for Trump to just be able to exhaust every effort for them to finally reach that point. Now, if you can help us understand the Straits of Hormuz, they said they're full of mines. How are they getting these mines either where they don't detonate or where it's safe for ships to go through there? How do they find them, and then how do they make it safe? Like, how do they clear them?
Well, one of the other reasons you can't trust the Iranians with nuclear weapons is how can they account for who has the finger on the trigger when they can't even find the mines they deployed into the Straits of Hormuz? I mean, they're floating around. They didn't anchor them properly. They don't know where they put them. Fortunately, we have the intel and the satellite capability and the surface ships that are now patrolling that area to identify, disarm, and kind of gather them up. We aren't even deploying minesweepers. There are reports that we're using underwater drones. The technology that has been revealed in this particular conflict has, again, I think, probably sent some shockwaves into China and Russia and others around the world of, oh, maybe the U.S. is a bit more advanced technologically, militarily than we expected. The Chinese anti-aircraft, anti-missile weapons that they had been selling Iran clearly did not work. So their ability to sell that stuff to other belligerent nations around the world has been hampered as well. So they are clearing, and again, one of the reasons for this blockade was to give the opportunity to clear the straits, because even if Iran said, okay, you can now travel your tankers through the straits, well, you hit a mine and you have a tanker full of oil explode, and that ceases the transit of oil through that relatively narrow strait of water for a long time. Keep in mind, though, that the Saudis are continuing to move towards on-ground pipelines. There's one that's been reopened that was attacked by Iran that's now flowing 7 million barrels a day.
Oh, wow.
The hope is that down the line, even if you remove Iran as a threat, you still have the Houthis in the Red Sea. You have others that can create problems. If you remove the ability to blackmail the world with the transit of oil coming from that region, by having other alternative ways that oil can move, that's going to be a good thing. And with the next 4 to 5 years, we may have different capabilities to move oil without going through that narrow strait. Keep in mind, as you mentioned, Karg Island is this island we've heard in the news some. 90% of Iran's oil revenues flow through that island. That's their transit, that's the depot. And again, had we blown that up, we could have decimated their economic future. Trump knows that we need to keep that a viable option so that the people of Iran, when hopefully they can take control of their country, have the ability to have a prosperous and peaceful country with the oil revenues that they have at their disposal, being able to be deployed, used, and distributed.
Trump said in one of his tweets, or whatever you want to call them nowadays, that he was not going to be extorted, that the U.S. would never be extorted. This is the whole point of, like you say, blockading that strait so that we can get in there and make it safe. But what do you think, just your political opinion, what do you think will be Trump's next move as far as raining down hell on them? Because he said that's coming.
Well, I think and there's talks that they may have talks later this week. The Iranians are seeing that their economic future is literally on pins and needles and could collapse in the next week or so. One of the problems they have is that if they don't have the storage capability, because oil isn't moving out, their pumping of oil out of the ground has to continue, or your oil pumps don't continue to work. So if you can't move oil, you can't continue to drill oil. And if you stop the drilling, then again, your drilling process is hampered for future use. So
that's a good
again,
point.
This is a who's going to blink, and Trump is not going to blink. We don't need to blow it up. We can blow up their economy with what they're doing right now. And their own leaders have said, we only got about another week or so. Their soldiers aren't being paid. Their police are not being paid. There are reports that the anytime teller machines and banking industry has essentially collapsed. They are on a precipice of economic disaster. And I think that's why the political leadership, as opposed to the military leadership, are looking for an exit ramp. And I think we may see that in the next few days. Again, you're seeing the oil prices come down. You're seeing the stock market continue to react positively to the belief that this will come to an end. And then I think when you look at the doomsayers, the sky is falling chicken littles that were screaming that this would destroy Republican chances in the midterms. when those oil prices come back to where they were just a month or so ago, when you see the economy continue to boom, as we're seeing with job rates, with inflation rates and everything else, we're going to see, I think, a very positive, booming economy in the U.S. that people here are going to feel. And as James Carville used to say during the Clinton years, it's the economy, stupid. And when the Democrats have no policies, no platform, no path forward for America other than we hate Trump. We really, really, really hate Trump. We really, really, really hate Trump. That is not going to sell people if they've got more money in their pockets. There's the prices at the grocery store are cheaper and gas prices come down. The hate Trump agenda is going to only have, I think, limited impact as we look moving forward.
Yeah, I think so too. And when he continues to be proven right over and over and over and over again, he's not a madman. Okay, let's just hit on this real quick before I let you go. The post that he put up about him in the robe with healing the Pope. I mean, what was that all about? And everybody's freaking out about that. I was so busy yesterday, I didn't even see it. But did you hear what was the intent behind that? I'm sure Trump was taking that.
Yeah, people were freaking out. Keep in mind that this was done by an artist in February. It was actually put out in February by an artist who said his intent was to show Trump as a healer, healing the nation. It wasn't the Pope in the bed. This was long before the Pope made his comments, jumping into the political fray. And first of all, the Pope is a religious leader. If he wants to jump into politics, directly or indirectly attack President Trump on not just, war in Iran. And as President Trump was saying, look, maybe you want the Iranians to have nukes. That is not a peaceful religious path nor a knowledgeable path. And then to be supportive of illegal immigration and the crime that it's causing in our country. I saw some statistics this week. 13,000 murders in the U.S. last year were committed by illegal aliens. Of the total 20,000 murders in the U.S., 60% of the murders in the U.S. were committed by illegal aliens. And the Pope is interjecting himself politically into defending illegal immigration when, again, the Vatican does not allow illegal immigration into the Vatican to house and feed and educate the poor from all over the world. So President Trump was concerned, and I think rightly so, that the Pope is delving into the political arena in a partisan way, having just had meetings with David Axelrod, the chief political consultant and brain for Barack Obama. And then you had 3 cardinals jump on 60 Minutes with an direct attacks on President Trump, one saying he really does not like President Trump. So when you have the church leaders jumping full-fledged into the political arena, they make themselves vulnerable to political response. So I think that, again, this has been part of a play, an organized play to try and create some distance between Trump and the Catholic base that has been strongly and increasingly supportive of him. And I think this will blow over. And again, I think it was a bad political move to repost it. But in terms of him trying to create this I'm Jesus mentality, the same people on the left that are screaming in frenzy over this had no problems with all of the images of Barack Obama with halos around his head, calling him the Chicago Jesus, portraying him in Jesus deification constantly in the media. They had no problems with that at all.
I didn't know they did that. I wasn't following politics as close back then, so I wasn't paying as much attention. I didn't even know they did that. So I agree. It crosses a line when you're trying to portray yourself as Jesus. Even I'm going to have a red line on that. But I don't think, I feel like we know Trump's heart at this point. I don't think that's what he was saying. I always want to give.
When you look at that image, you'll note there isn't a halo around his head the way Jesus is so often depicted, in the way that Barack Obama was depicted constantly with the halo around his head, the Jesus-like. Trump, and again, I'm not sure I see it as he thought it was like, I'm a healer because he's healing the nation. That's what the artist said he was attempting to display, not Trump as Jesus. So, are you going to believe the guy who did the thing?
Right.
Or are you going to believe those who are criticizing it?
Right. I agree. People are just so quick to jump. I feel like we just need to take a pause sometime and say, okay, let's get to the bottom. Let's get to the root before we just jump to conclusions. And, I had my phone blowing up yesterday about it, people sending it to me. And I was like, I hadn't even seen it, like I said. And I'm like, let's just get some facts. Let's just get, calm down, take a breath. I just feel like we need to do that in so many ways in our country.
Well, and the same folks that are so critical of Trump's meme have no problem with the Christians in Nigeria being murdered rampantly.
Yeah.
No problem with the 40 or 50,000 who've been executed, civilians in Iran. So again, their heartfelt, pure pearl clutching over this image does not connect when they have no problem with the vile, despicable conduct of Eric Swalwell and others in the sexual proclivities that they've displayed that's leading to his removal as a candidate for governor in California and as a member of Congress. And that pool of other operatives who've been performing in the same despicable way is going to continue to widen. The same folks that are upset about this meme, apparently with their faith-based approach to life, have no problem with these other things, apparently based upon how they react to one and ignore the other.
We have to look at the balance of someone's body of work. We have to look at the context of everything. And this is something that I just want to reiterate over and over again. Like, look at what he's done. Don't look at the body of work that he's doing, rededicating our country to God. I mean, you just look at the ways that everything that he's doing. I'm not saying he's a perfect man. Nobody is. And God used a lot of flawed people in the Bible. God raises up leaders and he uses them for a purpose. But if we just look at everything he stopped, there's so many things that he has stood between that evil in us, in the name of God, not trying to portray God, but in the name of God, dedicating our country back to God. We just have to look at everything, guys, and not just jump to these conclusions. And again, I'm never gonna praise anyone putting themselves on the same level with Jesus. I just don't think that's what he was trying to do. So thank you for.
But again, let's compare it. Let's compare it briefly to Joe Biden's Easter celebration a couple of years ago, where he was proclaiming a day of transgenderism. For God's sake, with the Bible-thumping Christians who are upset over this meme, remember what we tolerated with the promotion of transgenderism and bare breasts being displayed at the Easter celebration at the White House. That was okay in the minds of some. And this is reprehensible. At least put some balance into your outrage.
Yes. And what was that scripture in the Bible? Please take the speck out of your own eye before you, or the plank out of your own eye before you criticize the speck in the other person's eye. I mean, this is what I just feel like they're just ready to pounce on Trump for any little thing. They have to really search. Whereas, like you say, in previous administrations, it was like a buffet of things they could pounce on and didn't.
Trump derangement syndrome is real, and apparently it is contagious.
I don't want any of it. I got my immunity. Thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate your insight. Ladies, please go to tristardaily.com, tristardaily.com. Get all your news from Steve Gill. We can trust him. He is amazing. Thanks so much. I will see you again next week, my friend.
Thank you.
Welcome to Tea Time. I invite you to pour yourself a hot cup of tea with me. Just take a minute for yourself. Breathe and sip some hot tea. It just helps to reset everything, bring things back into perspective. Cheers. As we start to process what we just heard in the news headlines, in the biblical lens, there's a couple things I brought today that I wanted to share with you about it, to just sort of start to put some of this in context. Everything that's going on in Iran, everything that's happening in our country with the rise of Islam, all of this hatred towards Israel and the Jewish people, all this stuff that's going on with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. I mean, just so many things that are just revolving around Israel right now. I want us to just understand the spirit behind all of this. The spirit behind Islam. Now, I came across a pastor. His name is Josh Howerton. You might have seen him on Instagram. I've been listening to him a lot, but I line this up with other people that I've been learning from and really researching over the last couple of years. And he's absolutely right. The spirit of Islam is demonic. Everything that drives the hatred toward the Jews and the Christians is rooted in the spirit of Antichrist. And what I'm about to share with you is going to chill you to the bone. So just hang on for that. But there's no other explanation for a people that is so hell-bent on eradicating the Jews and the Christians. They chant in the streets, death to America, death to Israel. Well, that's because we are the only Christian nation. They're the only Jewish nation. Okay. And the Jewish people inherited that land in Israel. God promised it through Abraham. He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And all of this spiritual battle that's taking place in the Middle East is all rooted in that bloodline. We've talked about this on previous podcasts, so I won't get too deep in the weeds on this. But if you look at the seed of Abraham, that was Isaac, his rightful child with his wife Sarah, versus Ishmael, who was his, illegitimate child through Hagar, which was Sarah's maidservant, right? And it all splits right there. Now, let me just share with you what I heard Josh Howerton talk about around the religion of Islam. Now, keep in mind, too, that Islam is not just a religion. It's a political ideology. Wherever there is Islam comes Sharia law. All right. So we are looking forward to our Messiah coming back, right? Jesus Christ. The Islamists are looking forward to their Messiah coming back, and they call him the Mahdi. Okay, this is their Messiah. Now listen to this. Their Mahdi, when he comes back, he will emerge as a charismatic leader, Josh says, while the world is in chaos. He will destroy everyone who opposes him. He will invade many nations. He will rule and reign for 7 years. He'll make a peace treaty with Israel. He'll conquer Israel and massacre the Jews. He'll have a one world headquarters that will operate out of Jerusalem. There will be a one world religion, and it will be Islam. He'll come on a white horse with supernatural power, doing signs and wonders, and he'll be assisted by a powerful prophet. It is the exact correlation to the Antichrist. I mean, does that freak you out or what? I mean, their Messiah is the Antichrist. And here's the thing. All those countries, all those nations that are referred to in Revelation, Gog and Magog, and all of these countries, especially if you're looking at Ezekiel, the countries that will come against Israel in the final days, all of them can be related to modern day Turkey, modern day Iran, modern day Lebanon, all these places, modern day Syria, all these places, right? And guess what? All of them, except for one, is currently under Islamic rule. So, and they're trying their best to take over America. Now, if you haven't noticed, people who say to you, you're an Islamophobe, we have freedom of religion in America, I want to look at them and say, let's see how that plays out for you. How much I would say to someone who said that to me, I would say, what do you know about Islam? Can you tell me about the religion? They likely can't, but they're probably going to tell you that, I know lots of Muslims, and Muslims are peaceful. Really? Wow. So if they are a devout Muslim, they are rooted in Islam. They are rooted in the Quran. And this is what they believe. Someone who doesn't understand the Islamic, like sheer evil, they don't understand that they can marry children at the age of 9, 13, that they can kill their wives if they so much have a wisp of hair out of place out of their hijab. I mean, they are allowed under their Sharia law to beat their women. There's horrific things that go on with women, that even sexually, that I won't even go into here. They are beyond the antithesis of Christianity. I mean, they are pure. That religion is pure evil. It is pure evil. I had a friend who was married to one time. She got wooed into this relationship and into this marriage with someone who was an Islamist. And what she endured in that marriage, she was an American. What she endured in that marriage was horrific. And she ran for her life to get away from it. He hunted her down. And in that religion, he has the right to kill her if he'd have found her. Now, he ended up, I think God took care of it. I don't think he's living anymore, and nothing she did. But this is not a peaceful people. What they do, they're allowed to lie if they have to invade other countries and kind of set up shop. And they can, under their religion, they're allowed to lie to tell people that they're there in peace. And they take root, they start to multiply, to create families, they start to multiply, spread. And then once they reach a certain number, once they feel like they've actually got a power grip there in that area, then they start to take over the governments. And we're seeing it in Dearborn, Michigan. We're seeing it in New York City. I mean, we're talking about right at the foot of ground zero. They have thousands of Muslims praying in the street, shutting down Times Square to pray in the street right at ground zero. It's happening in Texas. There's so many mosques going up all over our country. Meanwhile, liberals are standing back and going, oh, don't be an Islamophobe. Look at what's happened to Europe. Islam is invading everywhere. And anyone that's under Sharia law is not free. Women are treated horribly. Children are treated horribly. The entire thing is, like I said, it's just demonic. It's rooted in the spirit of Antichrist. So how about those similarities? How about the similarities that from Josh? I mean, when I heard that, I was just like, it stopped me in my tracks. Okay, so with that being said, we can see now even more. Not that we needed any more signs, but we can see even more that prophecy is unfolding right in front of us. All right, so this brings me to my announcement today. For the last couple of years, I've been on a deep dive, really learning about the end times. I wanted to soak up like a sponge everything I could learn about the last days. For the last 4 months, I've been writing a book called Lady Up in These Last Days, Start a Kettle, Not a Fight. I felt such a strong urgency in my own spirit to learn about this and then to let God just teach me things, which he's taught me so much. I feel like every day is like an epiphany, and then just pouring it out into this book. And it's available as of today, right now. You can go to dianecanada.com and you can get it if you want your hard copy, or you can go to Amazon and get your digital ebook on Kindle, or you can, soon it'll be available in Audible. But I wanted to get it out the minute I was finished writing it and packaging it. Here's why. You know, a lot of authors will do like this whole big rollout, build anticipation, do a marketing campaign, schedule a book tour, all this stuff. And that's great. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that, but I don't feel like we have time. I felt like the minute I was finished letting God pour through me, I wanted to pour it out onto you, because I don't want one day to get away. If there's something that's been said in that book that can help win a soul to him, I don't want to let one day get away. The beauty of this book is it's an evolution of Lady Up America. It's not like a departure from it. It's further insight into what I've already been teaching, but with that biblical context of the last days. And it's just so cool. The things that he's been showing me the last couple of years are just like, it's like a deeper dive and a deeper dive, and where I've just been going, oh my gosh. So the other thing that's been great about it is it's given me the ability to simplify my signature techniques that I teach about influence, to really be able to simplify them, get them down into a nice, tight little package where you can easily digest it, you can easily apply it, you can easily start getting out there and influencing with it. One of the things my friend said yesterday, she said, Diane, it's a zero failure framework that you've given. She goes, I'm so excited about it because anybody can do this and not feel like they may not do it right. So I encourage you to get the book, because this could be a game changer, ladies. I've said for so long that women, especially suburban women, don't listen to politicians. And they've been so indoctrinated, so many of them, or they're getting such bad information that it's really not even about politics anymore. It's the spiritual battle, right? They're so lost out there. They don't know the truth. And you, as a Christian living in their neighborhood, maybe living next door, living a block away, you have the ability to reach her like nobody else because you're familiar. You see her. There's some trust equity that you can start to build in her. This is someone that you're raising your kids around, maybe, or your grandkids around. You share the same community space. There's just already a lot of familiarity there. And you can take that and you can build on that like nothing else. This is how we can win back our suburbs to Jesus. And if we win them to Jesus, then the values, the political values and all that would naturally follow. But I don't know that our government is long for this world anyway. I think it's really about the eternal impact that this can have. I think it's about reaching her and showing her the love of Jesus. And again, I walk you through all of this in the book and helping her to see it for herself, helping to win her, helping attract her to Jesus. That's the whole point. We're not here to convert anybody. Only God can change a heart. Like that's not our job. And I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to reach people in the sense that we're scared for them, right? Or we come on too strong, or we try to force our values on someone, maybe with good intentions, but all that does is repel people. With my techniques and with my framework, I show you how to do it in a graceful way where not only do you not repel her, but you attract her more. We want to attract people to the gospel, not beat them over the head with Bibles. And there's a very strategic way to do this in my techniques. There's an art to this. I spent many, many, many years honing this craft when I was a crisis consultant, when I would go into very chaotic and hostile environments and have to bring peace to those organizations and win the hearts and minds of the people in those organizations and get them to want to work with me. I didn't realize that that's what God was teaching me then, but I see it now. And then as a professional songwriter for many years, I also learned how to say a lot in a small space. Make your words count. Like I'm just going to give you everything that I've learned through the hard way and through many, many years of trial and error and many years of refining this in other arenas. It works beautifully for this spiritual battle that we're in America and for this political climate. And I'm just really excited to bring it to you. It's not about selling books. I just could care less at this point. What I want souls saved. I want to see people not eternally separated from God. That's what I care about. And I know it's what you care about too. Now, a lot of this means that we've got to grow up and mature in our own faith. And I spend a lot of time on that in the book too. Now I will say this, the book is only like less than 100 pages. So it's a short read. Again, concise, well packaged. You could sit down and read it in an afternoon or less. But the point is, it's a deeper dive and it's a look in the mirror of where we are in our own faith walk. Because if we hope to attract her, we've got to be walking out that fruit of the Spirit. We've got to be living a life that's attractive. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. I don't mean perfection. But what I mean is being very intentional about growing up, ladying up in our own faith walk so that we're not coming across as a hypocrite. We're not coming across as somebody that she just flubs her nose up at and say, you're going to teach me about Jesus and you do this and this and this. Like we got to clean it up if we hope to attract. So this book is just my whole heart and soul poured out into it. I am so proud of it. I think that here's why I'm proud of it. It's not because I'm a great writer. I'm proud of it because I understand how yielding, surrendering our lives to God gives him then the ability to work through us, to talk through us, to use us to reach people. I'm proud that he was able to do that through me without any obstacle. And I've learned as I've written this book, I mean, he was teaching me before that, but I've even learned through writing it so many more things. And when I put it out, now it's like, wow, this is like, this is so important. It's so important. It's the answer for winning back our suburbs. There's no other way. I'm absolutely convinced of that. I can tell you that without any hesitation. This is the way to win our suburbs to Jesus. This is the way to win people to him. The best possible way to win our neighbors. I've tested this. I've turned over every rock, and I'm telling you, this is the best way. So I encourage you to get this book, go to dianecanada.com and get it, and invite one or two girlfriends that are also strong Christians. Invite them to do this with you, to read through it together, spend an afternoon, start your own little, for the first tea party, let it be with your Christian friends, and give them a couple of teacups and invite them over and say, let's do this. Let's go through this book and let's learn this and let's start applying it. And then y'all go out as ambassadors for Christ and you start winning souls to him. It's the only thing that matters in these last days. It's the only thing that has eternal value at this point. Everything else in this world is sinking sand. We are to be on the field working for him up until the minute he returns. We don't check out and just say, he's coming any minute, so I'm just going to lay low and I'm just going to be doing me. You do you, I'll do me. And, and just checking out on life. We can't, that's not what he tells us to do. He tells us to be warriors for him, to be ambassadors for him, we have the Great Commission, right? He gives us that Great Commission to go and make disciples of all nations. Like, this is our marching orders. This is our watch. And what if he doesn't come back for another 5 years or 10 years? I personally can't see that, but I'm not Jesus Jr., so I don't know when he's coming. But I'm just saying, we are sowing seeds now that have eternal value, and he will honor that, and he will bless you for that. He will put favor on your life for that obedience. And when we're studying this and we're stepping up, he tells us in the Bible that those who study Revelation will be blessed. A lot of people don't like to think about it or to talk about it because it's, it's scary. But I'm here to tell you that we don't have to be scared of the end times, the last days. We do not have to be scared of that. Jesus is going to come and take us home with him. Again, we want to take as many with us as we can, but we are in that family and we have inside information. And he's told us, don't be afraid of any of this. In fact, encourage each other with this information. There's nothing that the enemy can do to us, that this world can do to us, that God hasn't already made provision for. Death is not the worst thing that can happen to us. Eternal separation from God is the worst thing. God says in the Bible, don't be scared of those who can just kill the body. Be afraid of the one who can have eternal separation from you and send you to hell. Okay, and I just want to say this again too. I should probably rephrase that, because God doesn't send us to hell. Sin is what sends us to hell. God doesn't send us there. He came on a rescue mission to do everything to prevent us from going there. But if we reject him and we just say no thanks, then okay, then he gives us what we want, and that's eternal separation from him. He's not going to force us to spend eternity with him when we couldn't even be bothered to do it now. So we don't want to see anybody have that fate, have that outcome, if we can do anything to help it. Y'all, it is the most critical, important work we could ever do. So I'm really excited to get this out, and I hope you'll pick up your copy. I hope you'll apply it. I hope you'll throw yourself some 20-minute tea parties that I teach you how to do in there. Start a kettle, not a fight. Christian, conservative, suburban moms can win their neighbors back to Jesus, and we got to start today. Oh, how I hope this has been a blessing for you today. I'm just so excited about what God will do with this message. This has been a labor of love for the last 4 years for me, and trying to take very big concepts and break them down and make them simpler and simpler and simpler and simpler. It took me a while to wrap my own head around what God was trying to say through me. And now that it's finally into this compact, nice little tight package, I'm just excited to release it. I'm excited to get it into the hands of as many women as possible, because it's him speaking, not me. It's what he's taught me that I just want to pass on to you. It's the answer. And we are in the last days, and we know that a lot of these things have to play out for biblical prophecy to fully come to fruition. So even if it's the Titanic going down in our country, even if it is, we want to try again and get as many people home with us as possible, home safe with us as possible. We don't want people falling into the sea and drowning. We don't want them separated from God for eternity. So get the book. I'm going to show you here in the links how you can get it. Make sure that you go to dianecanada.com. That gives you my ecosystem. That really shows you how everything that I offer you ties together, not just the book, but the online course and the anthem that you can download for free and enjoy, and the workshops that you can sign up and do if you want to. There's just so much in there. All of it complements each other, and it just gives you lots of different ways to learn. But God bless you for stepping up for Jesus. Get this book, share it, invite women into your home, do a book club, learn together. There's strength in numbers, and then apply it. Apply it. I want to hear all kinds of great stories from you on how your kettle mission is working. Lady up, kettle on. That's the idea. I even started that hashtag, so we're going to be pumping that out all starting tomorrow. Lady up and kettle on. That's our mantra, right? Because we are in the last days. It is critical. The gravity of the time that we're in does not escape us. And again, we just want to take as many people home with us as we possibly can. So lots of love to you. Mwah. And I will see you next week. Lady up.
Taking back this house, taking back this town. Mama, don't back down. Just a lady up.